Welcome back. I'm Amy, and today I'm going to continue talking about some experiences that I had in the Walt Disney World college program. Now, I didn't actually expect this to be so soon after the last one, but, well, I kind of got on a roll and listed a bunch of things down, and I felt like this is probably a good amount that I have written down for a decent length video. And same as last time, little bit content warning right here. It won't be as heavy as last time, though. Okay, so I'm not really going to try to tie these together much in any way, but let's just go on from thought to thought. First thing, I noticed a lot at Vista Way. It seemed like a lot of people there got a lot of sweet tea from Chick-fil-A. Like, I had some roommates that would just buy sweet tea by the gallons. Again, I'm not a fan of Chick-fil-A. It's not just because the, obvious reasons, but also I just don't find them that good. I really don't. Like, who puts pickle on a chicken sandwich? Ugh. Even without the pickle, it's still not that great. Okay, so there was this cat that hung around on property, and you can't bring in animals, you can't feed any animals that are there, anything like that. But this cat hung around for a few weeks before it realized, hey, it's not going to get food, so it's either that or got eaten by a crocodile. Oh, sorry, alligator. But this cat, it was friendly, but somebody named it Ganja. Ganja the cat. And surprisingly, I didn't name them. And now this is more to do with just it being 2008, but something is my poster falling behind me? I'm going to take that as a yes. Okay, that's probably going to happen again at some point. But, well, let's continue. But yeah, I just remember my roommates always watching Ironman. It was one of those things. We didn't have Wi-Fi in the complex for whatever reason. It was all tethered internet. So for me to use the router, I had to be in the living room basically. Well, is it a router if it's not wireless? Whatever. But I had to be in the living room to use my computer, but Iron Man was always friggin' on. And maybe that's why I'm kind of not all too big into the Marvel movies. I mean, I definitely have the ones that I like, but there are definitely some I haven't seen, and I don't care for Iron Man. But yeah, no, I just remember when Iron Man was the hot crap. And another movie that I remember being pretty popular about that time, although it wasn't released on home media yet, was Tropic Thunder. I didn't see it until after I was out of the program. The only movie I actually saw in theaters when I was down there was Zack and Miri Make a Porno. So I guess I have a couple more friend stories from the complex. The last day of my... Okay, so the Great Movie Ride dude and the Army dude, they came to the program at the same time and left at the same time. I was a little later. I mean, I didn't leave that long after them, because of all that happened. But yeah, so they left before I did. And the Army guy, his last day, he decided to dress up as a ninja and run around the complex, and he had like a little toy ninja sword. And he was just like running around the complex brandishing it. And the security actually had to come to him and they're like, hey, dude, I mean, I know you're having fun, but can you please not? We're getting some complaints, so could you not? And then the three of us, we went to Burger King, and on our way back, we're stopped at a red light. And this dude, I can't remember if he's in the passenger seat or is in the back, but he makes eye contact with a driver in the car, like, next to us. And he's still in the, like, he put the ninja outfit back on, so he slowly opens the door, is creeping out, all the while keeping eye contact with his dude. And this dude's kind of like, what the hell's going on right now? Like, and I mean, he can't go anywhere. It's a red light. So he's just sneaking slowly out of the car. And once the light finally turned green, the dude just floored it. All right. So the topic of cannabis is coming up again. So let's talk that. My Great Movie Ride friend, one time he rolled a joint and he gave it to me to light. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I looked down for a reason. And he hands it to me, and I see a joint, and it has one end that's twisted. And, normally I'm used to joints not having that, but that one did. Like, oh, hey, look at that. That must be somewhere for me to put my mouth on. So I lit it from the wrong end, because those are used to light joints. Yeah, and my friends are like, dude, what the hell? I'm like, is that not what that's for? Oops. And really the last story I can think of involving weed in some way, one day I'm kind of running a little late to work, so I just stuff everything that's on my dresser into my pockets, and I'm just blindly throwing stuff in my pockets. And then later I'm on a smoke break, and I'm just hanging out backstage, about right here, and I'm feeling around, I'm just, feeling around for a lighter, all that stuff. And I feel something. I'm like, what's this? I don't recognize this feeling. So I pull it out backstage, and it's a big old bag of weed. And I was right in view of the security camera. Nobody ever talked to me about that. So nobody saw. And there wasn't anybody else on break at the time, so I was good. And I mentioned last time all the different eating establishments around Vista Way. And one that I actually never went to was Dunkin' Donuts. It is right next to CC's Pizza, which I went to often, but for whatever reason, I just never went there. And to this day, I've never had Dunkin' Donuts. And now, I remember when I was living in Vista Way that there was a rumor that Coca-Cola actually owned the apartment complex, and they had a deal with Disney. It's like, okay, we'll let the college students live here, but you can't charge them. And they charge $75 a week, which for rent, utilities, electricity, internet, cable, that's not bad. It's gone up now, of course, but I don't know if that's a actual thing or not. I don't know where that rumor got started. I'm going to look it up. If I found anything, I'm going to put it here. Otherwise, no. And one time, so as I mentioned last time, the program attracts kids from throughout the world, and the apartment directly above us, there were some kids that were living there that came from France. And in Europe, as in most of the world, soccer's pretty big. So for whatever reason, these people, like at 2 a.m. one morning, decide, hey, let's play soccer in our apartment. So yeah, of course we had to go up and complain. And then sometime later, I can't remember what it was, but one of the women living in the apartment under us, who I believe she played either Sleeping Beauty or Cinderella, I can't remember. She came up one time to, complain that we are being too noisy, and, I'm just kind of thinking, you want to trade with us? Our neighbors play soccer. But I don't remember what it was. I think we were just walking around too loud. Okay, now back on to actual work stuff. And like I said, this isn't going to be as bad as last time. Like, it's not going to be nearly as heavy. But let's start with some more Chef Andy stuff. One of the more peculiar things I remember about him, one time he asked me, oh, is that, chicken that's marinating seasoned? And I'm like, yeah, I use the recipe. He's like, oh no, you actually got to taste it. I'm like, this is raw chicken juice marinade. I'm not tasting that. It's like, what? No, why not? And he reaches his fingers in there and licks it and tastes it. It's like, oh, ew. And this was actually after I'd been marinating all night. So those juices were mixed in. Yeah, how? Okay, I picked some stuff up off the floor and put it back in a container, but in front of somebody investigating a food inspector. But that's still seems to me like, what the hell? Do you want salmonella? Because that's how you get salmonella. And then one time where he's in the show kitchen and he has we use these pewter plates or something. I don't remember what they're made out of, but we use those under the hot lights. They conduct heat. They just keep things a little hot. And we use those in the morning. And one day he's, fiddling with one of that and he keeps putting it in the pizza oven. Oh, the flatbread pizzas were actually cooked on an actual pizza oven. Again, Saratoga Springs, Artist Palette. So he's heating that up, and I noticed him just mixing something on it with, a spatula, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he just looks at me, he's like, really? You don't know how to make a roux? I'm like, roux is equal parts flour and butter. I'm like, okay, no, I know a roux. I've just never seen anybody make it like that. And the only other Chef Andy story I can think of at this time is when he told somebody, not me, although I was within earshot and he knew it, that I should join the armed forces to improve my discipline. A, why would he say that to somebody else in front of me? B, no, I'm not joining the armed services. I mean, I have anxiety. That would have made things worse. Has he not seen Good Morning? I mean, has he not seen Full Metal Jacket? I mean, I'm actually going to go on a tangent about this in a minute, but I mean, look at how Private Pyle, look what happened to him. But I mean, I am ultimately a pacifist, so no, armed services are not for me. And now the Private Pyle thing, the reason I said I'm going to put a pin in that is because I watched that movie for the first time just a few months after I left the program, and I actually felt a strong connection with Private Pyle. At least Private Pyle in the first half of the first act. Like, the second half of the first act is like, no, I don't identify with that. But just messing up constantly and being the bane of people's existence almost.
Private Pyle, what are you trying to do to my beloved car?
Sir, I don't know, sir.
You are dumb, Private Pyle, but do you expect me to believe that you don't know left from right?
Sir, no, sir.
Then you did that on purpose. You want to be different.
Sir, no, sir.
What side was that, Private Pyle?
Sir, left side, sir.
Are you sure, Private Pyle?
Sir, yes, sir.
I mean, they never beat me with a sock. A sock full of soap or whatever it was. I never shot a drill sergeant or a boss, anything like that. But yeah, just that feeling of just always messing up. And no matter what you're trying to do to not be able to succeed, it was just, I definitely connected with that movie. And that is a good movie. If you only like the first act of that movie, I get it. That first act is great. But that whole movie is amazing.
We play fair and we work hard and we're in harmony. MICKEYMOUSE.
And I didn't really mention any other bosses, but let's throw a few stories in there. First, there's Chef Steve. Again, not his real name, just what I'm going to refer to him as. I don't remember how this started, but one day we're just on stage and it's a little slow. And for whatever reason, we just start singing the Carousel of Progress theme. There's a great big beautiful tomorrow shining at the end of every day. I don't know why, but we're just singing and we gotta have our arms around each other swaying back. Like, we're just having a fun old time. That was definitely one of the better bosses I had there. I didn't see him often though. That was a shame. Again, the whole rotation thing. I would have liked it if I saw him more often, but that's not what happened. And then we have, I guess, the last boss story that I can think of at the time. Again, if I can think of more of these in the future, maybe I'll make another video. But we have one last, and this is of Chef Pat, as in short for Patrick, if that T in Pat didn't come out. And again, not real name, but that's what I'm going with. Looking back, I think this guy might have been a stoner. Like, he is the guy that finally is like, wait, fam? It actually turned out people were using fam back then. You haven't seen Half-Baked? You need to go watch that movie. So I went out not too long after that and bought it. Good movie. I should have called him Chef Dave, because Dave Chappelle. Too late. And then later, I don't remember, what we were talking about when I finally said, hey, you want to borrow Pineapple Express? I'll lend it to you. So I lent him Pineapple Express, and well, it's been almost 10 years and I still don't have it back. And actually, I left my, mailing address for him to get it back to me, but yeah, still hasn't happened. I already own another copy of it, and, James Franco movies have kind of been ruined. Right there, James. Right there. But yeah, he still owes me that movie. Oh, and I guess last story is, the army man dude that I hung out with, dude would always fall asleep after smoking a bowl or whatever. Like, a couple of times I invited him back to my apartment. I'm like, hey, let's, watch Cheech and Chong Up and Smoke or whatever. And dude just crashes on my couch. Oh, and one other thing, I guess. One time, myself, those two dudes, and a couple other people, I don't remember whom, we were playing Monopoly, and just army dude, and he's like, hey, my mom's in town, I gotta go meet up with her, so I'm gonna see you guys later, just continue this game without me. And we're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's a bummer, but hey, have fun with your mom. And then a little while later, there's a knock on the door, and he brought his mom to our apartment, and she was a loud and boisterous woman. And we're stoned, of course. We're really stoned. And the whole time, we're just trying to suppress a laugh because how boisterous she was. But hey, that's it for today. Shorter video this time than than the last college program video, but that's fine. I didn't anticipate it to be long. But hey, thanks for joining me, everyone. Take care. Remember that you're valid. Bye-bye. Oh, and I'm sure it goes without saying, but next week isn't going to be another one of these.